Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Denise Raleigh from the Gail Borden Public Library. And most of the time, I'm the head of communications here at the Library District. I also have a wonderful other job at this point in time. I am the coordinating person within Gail Borden for the Elgin area pandemic team. And with me today is Martha Martinez, and someone I'm so proud to have on this show with me, because we're going to talk about the Elgin area pandemic team. And I'm very proud of our results. We've been at this for almost a year now. I hired Martha for this job, and every day she and her team reinforce why I hired her to help people who have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. So without further ado, I'm going to let our most expert person talk about, like, what does the Elgin area pandemic team do, Martha?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. Certainly, we have been busy, very busy, especially in the last few weeks with the increase in infections. But we have been doing work now since the beginning of last year. And we have scheduled many hundreds and hundreds of vaccine appointments for people. We have been hosting also many clinics, both here at the library. We've helped, assisted other organizations that have needed help with it. And we are certainly doing a lot of work as well with King County and their referrals to us with patients that are COVID positive. And so we really want to assist them with staying isolated. And so that means that when you're isolated from one day to the next, there are things that you may or may not have on hand at home. You may or may not have disinfectants. You may or may not have food in the pantry. And so our team goes, calls, follows up, sees what they need, and will make deliveries accordingly. So we have helped many families with those needs as well. And hopefully we've assisted in trying to contain the pandemic within our area by avoiding those unnecessary trips outside of the home. We've also assisted clients that have either lost a job, have seen reduced work hours, or have simply been out of work for 2 weeks with an infection. Financially, that has an impact on families. And so we work with partners here in our local area that have funding and can provide assistance. We certainly at the table help them fill out applications, because we have many people who don't have a computer at home or don't know how to navigate, doing anything online. And so even that is a big assistance to the team to be able to help people with their online applications. We do some of that. And so we've been doing, and we work very well with a lot of our partnering organizations. So that's a little bit about what we've been doing.
And you kind of keep on abreast of everything that's available in the community, only because I get the wonderful luxury of communicating with Martha almost every day. She will tell me this person's out of funding, this person's not out of funding. And I think people don't understand how hard it is to keep your team informed about what's out there, so that they can make sure that people get the help they need. And these agencies have this funding to help people who've been negatively impacted by COVID. But how do you do that? How do you know what's going on in the community, Martha? How do you and your team?
Well, right now, and actually we've been working on this since the beginning. First of all, we've amassed a list of resources here in the community so that we know, we always call ahead of time, find out, make sure the numbers are valid numbers, try to find out what the requirements are so that we can match them closely with the clients that stop by the table or that call us. asking for help, and so that we're not sending them on a wild goose chase. We know that then, what you qualify for this program or you don't qualify for that program. We also stay on top of the news so that we know when government assistance programs open up, like LIHEAP that helps with utilities. They open up and close. They have timeframes, a couple of timeframes during the year that when they're open. So we make sure that our clients know that there's that assistance there. The Illinois Department of Housing Authority also has the Illinois rental program that it opens up a couple of times a year as well. It just closed I think about within the last 7 days or so. And so certainly when those dates are open, we also try to take advantage and help our clients, help them apply. And so we either answer their questions if they're PC literate and want to handle it themselves, we send them the links. But if not, we will set up face-to-face appointments here at the library as well.
And Martha, another thing about your team that I think it's important for people to know is you have Spanish speakers almost across the board on your team members. And so if a Spanish speaker needs help, you can take care of them easily in English or Spanish, correct?
That is correct. As often when people call, they may call initially speaking in English, but struggling, and so when we hear a call like that, we immediately revert to Spanish and give them that comfort so that they can feel like they can express themselves completely and that they're understood. And so we immediately will adjust accordingly as we see the clients step up and see their comfort level with English. Yes, and they love it.
I think there's a great aspect to the team members here at the pandemic team. So on January 29th, we have a clinic with a new partner. And you want to tell us a little bit about the new partner? And I know you've hosted many clinics. You've helped with many vaccine clinics. Can you tell me a little bit about the January 29th clinic that we have coming up?
Certainly. On Saturday, January 29th, we're going to have a vaccine clinic, a booster clinic per se, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Here at the library. So please feel free. We have a registration link already available for it on our Gail Borden /COVID help website. If you're not comfortable with making an appointment that way, you're welcome to call us and we will give you our contact information here at the end, as well as you can email us or you can stop by the table and we'd be happy to do the registration for you. We will be offering all 3 vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J. And they will also welcome walk-ins for boosters on that day. So we should have sufficient vaccine to take care of people coming in. We have a new collaboration with that one with the Illinois Emergency Agency. Yeah, what is that?
Illinois Emergency
Management Agency. Yes, Illinois Emergency Management Agency. So we will be working with them for the first time. They stopped and they actually asked Denise if the library was willing to partner for this vaccine. They could have gone to many other places. They decided to come here. And I think they made a really good choice because we constantly have people stopping by the table asking if we are offering vaccine at that moment. And unfortunately, we don't always have the clinics, right? But we can readily make appointments for people. But we will be having that collaboration starting up. And so you are welcome, like I said, to come in and join us on that day. Again, open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And with more information there on our website as well.
Great. And Martha, I would like you to address this one more time. For those who don't know, Martha testified at a congressional subcommittee hearing, and that was in November. She did a wonderful job at representing people who are working on this task across the country, but she did a wonderful effort in describing what is that we're all facing. People now at this phase of this pandemic do know, I think the vast majority of them know that vaccines are available. And we still have hesitancy. You know, what is your team telling people who are still hesitant at this time about why they need to get the vaccine and the booster?
Well, we have always and continue to encourage people to get vaccinated. I think that the numbers will tell you that it's been a successful effort for those that have been vaccinated. I mean, certainly sometimes we hear from people, oh, well, there are breakthrough infections. But what I think what they don't realize is, vaccines are not 100% sure, and they are not meant to totally avoid an infection. I mean, that's great that we have like a 90% efficacy with a couple of the vaccines. But the point here is that they're meant to avoid severe illness or hospitalizations, and most importantly, death, that you don't die from this vaccine. So we encourage people to always, try to get vaccinated, because we here at the current time are experiencing a very high infection rate here in King County. And while the rest of the state and the country seems to be coming down, we are still at very high levels here in the county. So we need to make sure that not just we are safe and our elders are safe, but that our children are safe as well. So when we initially started, the vaccine was not available for younger children, for actually anybody under 18. And now thankfully they're available for children, 5 and up. And there are still many that are not vaccinated. I think there's a lot of the hesitancy sometimes revolves around the fact that they feel that the vaccine was rushed. And one of the things that people don't realize is that these vaccines, the mRNA vaccines, are not really new. I mean, they've been around for at least 10 years. We've had SARS and many other viruses of the coronavirus family. So we just happen to be working on 19 at the moment. But there has been a lot of work done. And so what they do is take advantage of all that they've learned about the vaccines and then just adapt it for the 19. And in this case, what it's doing is not the traditional approach of the vaccine where you take a dead virus and inject people with it. This is one where actually it proactively goes out there, and the spikes that we see on the vaccine, that we see on the virus, the vaccine will come and cover them so that it makes it harder for it to penetrate healthy cells and duplicate. And so we try to, share that kind of information and tell them the numbers are there. I mean, certainly the death rates would be much higher had we not been at the level of vaccination that we currently are. We would love it to be higher. But we try to ask them, we try to probe and ask, what is your reluctance, or what questions do you have, or what will it take to get you vaccinated? And then people will, open up, and then we address the individual questions they have. And
do you talk a little bit about how this pandemic, how it affects others? We can talk about personal freedom versus how we impact our neighbors and our loved ones and our relatives. And that makes this a little bit different, I think. And does that sometimes come up in your conversations?
Yes, I think we had actually a situation last week where we had a family stop by, and they didn't really stop by the table. They kind of just walked around and never really came and approached us directly. And one of our navigators, we reached out to them and said, come on over here, let's talk. And so they were a little bit reluctant. They walked around a little bit more and finally walked up and said, and asked a question. They said, do you make a vaccine appointments? Well, yes, of course we do. Well, the situation they had was the mother was vaccinated and the child was vaccinated, but the father was reluctant, And so she says, even though we're vaccinated, he needs to understand that he can still get us sick. He can bring it home to us. And so, she reached out to him and asked, what is your reluctance? Well, I think sometimes people have a really hard time verbalizing what that is. And so she asked him, are you willing to do this for your family? And he turned around and he said, make me the appointments. So she did. She scheduled the appointment, and it was a mother. You could see the relief on her face when he finally accepted. And so I think sometimes we don't realize that we impact those that we love the most. When we don't get vaccinated, we expose them and put them at risk.
Oh, well
So,
said, Martha, well said. And we're going to get on, and I'm hoping you'll share a few other stories before we end this today. But talking about ending, and again, I'm so proud of the work that you do. We were asked to extend our service here in Northern Kane County. And it's due to the work of Martha and her team, coming through time and time again. And the stories are just lovely to read and to listen to, what your assistance is doing for people in our community. But can you tell me, how long will the Elgin area pandemic team be working now?
well, we're happy to communicate that the program has been extended through June. And so we expect to be here at the library and answering phones and helping people however we can. So the program has been extended. And at the moment, I'm also out there looking for another person to join our team. So if anybody is interested in a job of the community health worker, also known as a navigator, which is the work that we do, we'd be happy to interview people who are interested. The information is also posted on the library website with contact information and everything.
Yeah, so let's give a sense of what you do daily. I want you to tell and I know the stories, you have stories that could go on, but just pick a few to give people out there who might be watching this a sense of what the work involves for this pandemic team and how gratifying it can be.
Well, we had a situation of an older man who stopped by, actually, what was it, last month, to thank the team because we had scheduled his original 2 vaccines, his first dose and his second dose. And in December, he contracted the virus. And so he had symptoms, but they weren't as severe as he thought they were going to be. And he stopped by just to say, I wanted to thank you because I know that you scheduled these appointments for me and that helped me resist this virus, that I didn't get as sick as I could have. And I really feel like I'm still alive because you were here to help me out when I needed those appointments done. And that's exactly what this is. I feel like you saved my life. And so, it's very rewarding to the team when people actually take time out of their day to come by and take the time to do that. I know a lot of people are appreciative, but not everybody has the time to do that. And he did. So we had, that story there. Recently, we also worked with a family that initially the child came home sick from school, and then and so the mother had to stay home and take care of him, and then she contracted it, successively, and so dad was there the whole time, but when she came down with it, he for sure couldn't go back to work, and so they were again isolated for the length of about 5-6 weeks. She was in and out of the hospital on a few occasions. She went home with oxygen. And so they were from being, everything was fine before COVID. Those 5-6 weeks with COVID turned their lives upside down. They fell behind on utilities. They fell behind on rent. They needed help. And we were able to help them to get them caught up again. And so that was another welcome story for, people who really need it in their time. You always think of people who need all the time. But these are people who, like you and I, who may not need all the time, but in our time of need, somebody is there to help them. And so that's another situation that we had there. And we've certainly had many people stop by and thank us for helping them fill out their applications for rental assistance, for mortgage assistance, which take quite a while. They can take an hour to an hour and a half. And we sit there, we help our clients when they gather their information. We scan it in for them because many of them don't have scanners at home, and email it on their behalf. We've done a lot of that work, and certainly they have stopped by to let us know that they have been successfully helped, that their landlords have communicated that their rent has been paid up. And so they really appreciate that we're there to do that, because they wouldn't have known where to go to get that help. So we've had situations like that as well.
And I only because I know the answer, but I'm going to ask this. I think you're helping the stress level of people who don't need the pandemic team to help them. But so what are you hearing from people who don't need your help at this moment?
You know, this is funny because certainly the library receives many visitors and patrons on a daily basis. And so, many of them are repeat clients, of course, that stop by on a very regular basis to the library, and they've seen our team there day in and day out. And so many take the time to stop by and just thank the team for the work that they're doing. You know, they said, you know, we know that you're doing this to protect us, even though we're not sick right now, you're helping protect us by getting people vaccinated. And they're really appreciative. They tell the people, and they tell me, you know, my team tells me they stop by 2 to 3 times a week. It's not unusual to have clients visitors who don't really have not used our services, but that appreciate the work that is being done by the team.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And for people who might be watching, who have a friend or a family member that could use the pandemic team assistance, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, we can be reached by telephone. Our number here, let me see, 224-765-7370. So you can call us, and that number again is 224-265-7370. We have an email address, Elgin area, and then we abbreviate Pandemic Assistance Team, PAT, Elgin area pat@gmail.com. So you're welcome to do that as well. You're welcome to visit our website, you know, Gail Borden /COVID help. We have a lot of great information on that website as well. And certainly you are also welcome to visit us at the library. We staff the table Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And so there you can have an in-person consultation. And that can be from anything from, I lost my card. How do I get a replacement? Where do I go get a test? Can you schedule a vaccine for me? Or, you know what, I have been impacted by COVID and I need financial assistance. How can you help me? And so those are the kinds of things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome. And that's for anyone who's it's to know which library location, since we have several one, it's 270 North Grove in Elgin. That's the main building. And when you walk in, they're as soon as you walk through the gates, they're right there in front of you. You can't miss them from 1 to 5. So I hope everyone got a sense of what you can be assisted with through the Elgin area pandemic team. But Martha goes one step further and she talks to local legend Dr. Dorothy Poulos. And you want to tell us a little bit about next Tuesday? It's a different information than what you're getting here. But Martha, can you talk about what you will be talking about with Dr. Poulos next Tuesday evening at 7 p.m.?
Certainly, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Dorothy Poulos work with us every other month. She is part of a team that gets a special briefing from the Kane County Health Department on the situation as it exists here locally with the virus and the situation. And she shares a lot of data with us on that call that is shared with her. She is able to answer questions that she knows either from information they give her or from her own practice that she has, as well as she gets a view into what's coming up in the near future. So we invite you all to participate on that call. It's next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we will have a Facebook Live on that one as well. You're welcome to ask questions in advance or on the live session. Doctor is very knowledgeable on the topic and very willing to help and answer questions.
And that's in English and Spanish. So
yes,
That's for everyone, or a lot of our community. And also we, if there's other people that speak a different language, please send us in Facebook questions and we'll try and get those translated so that we can get those answers to you if you'll enable us with a way to reach you. So Martha, again, thank you so much for the work that you are doing in this community, and thank you to your team members who are doing such a fantastic and needed job. And I would like to thank everyone else for joining us today.
And thank you, Denise, your team and Gail Borden Public Library for the support you give us. Not all libraries, very few libraries, probably less than a handful participate in this program. I know of only one other. And so I've always feel that you are very progressive and forward thinking in the services that you feel the community needs. I think you're spot on with this effort, as you have been with others. And I do think we're making a difference in the community, and it's because we're here under the umbrella of Gail Borden Library, that is a trusted community organization that is loved and cherished by people in the community. They tell us that all the time. They come in looking for vaccines that they want to have here at the library, not at a clinic, not at a pharmacy, but here at the library where they're comfortable. So thank you for all of your support to the whole organization at Gail Borden Public Library. Certainly, we're very appreciative.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone out there for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.